Welcome Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
Hi everyone, Daphne Lage here. Join Nita Lanning and me on the Ragin' to the Vlogs show, where we talk about everything, nothing, and all the bits in between. Looking for hour-long conversations about indie comics, social media marketing, and crowdfunding, with the occasional rant and story time? Head on over to the Ragin' 2 channel on YouTube, Mondays through Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern to join in the chat.
Hit the button.
Before the ancient flood, continents are connected, mankind is divided, and the celestials are perched in wait. Because of this, an evil force arises to conquer the earth. Mare and his small group of warriors encounter this evil and are thrust into a crisis that will disrupt the fate of humanity.
That is one rockin' intro that I am really hoping is public domain, because nothing stops a stream faster than, oh yeah, somebody owns that. You can't use it. But I don't think we have that problem here tonight. Good evening. I am barely RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com, Chief Envelope Licker for Critical Blast Logistics, Myopic Proofreader for Critical Blast Publishing, and Receptionist and Phone Answerer for Critical Blast Consulting. We don't know what that does either, but we get paid for it, so we're doing something. Tonight, we are back into the world of crowdfunded comics, so we are so glad that you are here to join us. Derek Clay, good to see you here. Thank you. I'm sure you mean our guest's intro, not ours. Ours is a very simple kind of thing. Intense Webs, hail, glad you're here. It's General Flunky. I'm no General Flunky. I'm nobody's flunky. Certainly not a general. No stars on these shoulders. So tonight we are going to hit that Ballad of the Celestials, and of course to do that we brought on balladeer extraordinaire, Mr. KJ Murphy. Murph, how you doing tonight, man?
Great, yourself?
You know, I'm a little breathless. I was like, can I do all this stuff this afternoon that I have to do and still get home in time? And the answer is a resounding no. It's you can get home 5 minutes after time or thereabouts, but it was Mr. Toad's wild ride all the way from Fayetteville to here in Holiday Island, Arkansas. On top of my mountain that's no longer covered in ice, so my car doesn't succumb to gravity anymore.
Boy, that was bad, that storm.
Oh man,
3 weeks ago I think it was, or two or 3 weeks
mine
ago?
Was 2 days ago.
Oh, you guys got hit in Illinois with something that, because I'm in Columbus, Ohio, so I thought you were referring to the thing like 2 or 3 weeks ago. You guys got hit with something?
No, we got hit here in Arkansas with ice last Thursday.
Why am I thinking you're in Illinois? You're in Arkansas.
Because I was in Illinois at one point.
Oh, okay.
I go back and forth.
Okay.
But I'm on top of a mountain. I have about a 50 to 75 foot driveway with a 35 degree incline.
Okay.
It was an inch of ice, smooth all the way down. And of course, the road doesn't go back up into someone else's driveway. It just keeps going off the edge into a holler where no one will find you if you don't survive the fall. So, when I left on Friday, I'm like, yeah, we melted enough. I can slide down the driveway, grip the tires where it's not melted, make my turn and do my shopping. Yeah, that was dumb because while I was gone, Mother Nature said, let's get cold again. All that water can just refreeze. I came back in pitch black, made my turn, spun my wheels, said, nope, I think I'll just park here at the bottom of the driveway, put it in park, opened the door, realized the car was still going backwards. And put it back in gear. I'm like, no, let's park it where there's still dry surface, and just left it there. Fun times, good times. So, wait a second.
So you don't have the intro. You don't have to worry. It's Derek's band. It's his band, that music. So we're not going to be no sued or being taken down or anything like that.
Fantastic. That's some good stuff, man. You guys are musicians as well as comic creators.
Well, I'm not a part of the band. That's his thing. So
you're the music director.
Yeah.
And mopper and sweeper of CG. I can handle that. I've mopped up and swept up some CG stuff before, as long as I'm not a Janny. I hear that's not the thing to be. That's what Redditors have. Redditors have janitors and Jannies. So tell me about your book. Now, we've talked about this book, but it's like I thought it was more recent than what it was, because I went on my fairly new computer here, like it's about a month old, and I was like, just go grab the slides that I had before and the video I had before. Couldn't find them. I'm like, they're on the old computer, I guess, the one that died and was unusable anymore. So I had to remake everything, and of course I was doing that at 12:30 this morning because I'm like, crap, got a show tonight. So
it was interesting. You played the video and it was smooth. Even on our own channel, it's always hiccuped or would stall, and it was smooth. I don't know what you did, but
there's a trick to it. There's definitely a trick to it. If you're using StreamYard, don't share it. Don't share the video. Download the video. I've got a website that downloads YouTube videos. It's kind of hinky. You got to say, download it. No, don't show me the ad. Download it. No, don't download the software you're trying to give me. Download it. Now it downloads into your download directory, and then you upload it as a video clip, and then you play it that way, and as smooth as silk. It just there's just like all the intros. It's just you can put up to 10 minutes of video on a single clip, so you can get a pretty decent video clip going on a StreamYard thing.
Okay, good to know. I'll have to look that up.
It's very cool. They've added new things to StreamYard too. Every time
do you have to pay for it though for StreamYard to be able to do it?
No,
we have the free StreamYard. So okay.
So all you get with free StreamYards is you can only have like 3 guests. I think I can have 10 guests, but I can have like more outlets. I can broadcast to like 3 outlets at one time. So right now we're going to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. I don't need to go to 50 because I don't need to go to more places. It doesn't behoove. If I go to more places, I dilute the audience on YouTube, and guess what? That's the one that's monetized. Why would I want to do that? But like they've added stuff to it, like this. Oh, that's not very good. So we just put some. We can talk, and there's music. We can talk over the music now, and it's free music. That's rock, supposedly. They've only got like 1, 2, 3, 4. They've only got 8 things that they got here, and they're all on a loop. And you just talk while the music plays.
That's interesting. That's probably really good for when people are doing draw streams.
Yeah, it would be. Because I don't know how long of a song it is before the loop's there. It's got volume control here. That was sort of a 50 out of 100. And it's a new thing. It's background music. So StreamYard just keeps adding new stuff and making it better all the time.
Smart.
Where were we? We were talking about comic books. Yeah. Okay. So Ballad of the Celestials. $2,045 of a $2,000 goal. Funded.
Yes.
Thank you all for coming. Good night.
Yes.
Appreciate you being here. But this is great. I mean, you've been up for what? How many days?
What is the math? 24 days.
Oh, okay. So you put it up for a full 60 at one time.
Yeah. Which I think that's not the best. Isn't it better to do 30 and 30?
Well,
you get like a better bump on Indiegogo.
Yeah, you get a bump at the beginning and a bump at the end. All you did was make for a longer plateau in the middle where nothing happens. I guess with 30 and 30, you get 2 beginnings and 2 endings, so you get double bumps.
Okay.
But I've seen people just like, we're going to do 12 days and create a sense of urgency the whole time. I'm like, good luck if it works for you.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the best thing has been going on other people's YouTubes. That's we usually get a backer or two, like just constantly going on streams, advertising it.
We will try to do that for you tonight. And folks, if you're watching the video right now, and it's like not right now, but just right now for you, not right now for us. It's a replay. The link is right below the video. You can click on it, go out here to Indiegogo. If you are watching it right now, link's still there. Won't take you away from the conversation, but you'll also find it in the chat from our good Wrench Heroenberg, who is very descriptive about the projects that are out there. The word antediluvian, that takes me back to high school psychology class. Not psychology class, vocabulary class. Psychology was a different teacher.
Yep, pre-flood.
Yes, pre-flood. Although our grammar teacher was so old and near retirement, we used to tease her by calling her antediluvian.
Nice.
She was Mrs. Redpath, Mrs. Alice Redpath. God bless your soul. Sweetest old lady in the world. Every freshman in the world was scared to go into her class for the first time because she had 2 claims to fame. 1, she had been on the Love Boat. And 2, on her desk was a morning star. I don't think she could have lifted it without both hands. But it was a literal, honest to God, cast iron, spiky morning star. And, it was 1985. Freshmen believed you really could get whacked in the head with that thing by a teacher if you mouthed off.
Was there any blood on it or anything like that? Was there?
No one ever got close enough to examine it. I would not have put it past her, though, to get with Mr. Waldron, the art teacher, and say, hey, can you speckle this with some?
Yeah. Yeah. Fear is a great motivator. So
it was a very, very good motivator. We're going to look for Art T. Bear in the background of some of your panels tonight, apparently. I guess he's that old in this antediluvian time period. So take us back. Where are we and when are we? I know these answers. I've got to ask the questions anyway because we have new audience members.
Oh, sure. So this is before the flood, not any specific time, just a time before the flood. So the world, it's our world, it's Pangea, one continent. And so where we're taking place here is there was a big war that there was this evil force that tried to kill all of mankind about 2 generations before this. So as the guy in the middle right there, Mare, his grandfathers were big in fighting back this evil force. And so where we are right now is there's still a little bit of remnant of this evil. And Mare's kind of gone to different tribes, kingdoms, cultures, and tried to take away that force that was still left a little bit. And so that's kind of where we pick up, where him and his team is kind of in the wild trying to destroy those things. As they do that, they find something out which kind of changes everything that they're up to, and it now kind of forces him to go back home. And as they're going back to his home, he intercepts a group of they would be terrorists, where they just believe mankind shouldn't be in castles or buildings or boxes, and they just want to burn that stuff down. So he kind of intercepts them.
Antifa.
Yeah.
Occupy and Antifa. Okay. Question, because you said that a few generations earlier this evil force had happened. Of course, we're thinking like, yeah, generation is not my dad, but my grandpa.
Yep.
But the fact that this is antediluvian times, if you follow the documents of the era, people lived a lot longer back then. So you're not talking like 40 to 50 years ago. You're talking possibly, 500 to almost 800 years ago, possibly.
Possibly. It is interesting because that's what we're doing here is we're trying to kind of make a world mythology. If you get into, everyone knew Greek and Roman and Norse mythology, but after Lord of the Rings, the movies hit, it just made me love fantasy even more, and I got into more mythology like Celtic mythology and Middle Eastern mythology, and all these mythologies kind of have those same things, that people lived longer then, and a lot of the same things happened to their cultures, a lot of the same beliefs. Tolkien, when he wrote Lord of the Rings, he was making a European mythology, so this is a world mythology. I'll say the story how it is. It doesn't take over 100 years of their lives, but I would say they probably do live a little longer. Are we going to say they live 800 years? Maybe, maybe not. That's nothing that comes right up in the front. That's something as kind of the story goes.
Let the world tell that story as it comes along.
Yeah. But again, a lot of these things were destroyed. Atlantis is going to be in this, and that was destroyed. The only thing that's going to be in this world that still stands are the things that still stand today. The pyramids, whether it's the Incas or the Egyptians, the Great Wall of China, those wonders that still stand will be back there, and we'll kind of explain why they were created and for what reasons and how, and why they did
see them shining new.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that having endured much Bible study as a younger man, because in the Bible Belt, it was you go to church or dad takes off his belt. That was how it got its name, in case you were wondering. Studying all, Methuselah was supposedly the one who lived the oldest. He lived nearly 1,000.
Yeah.
But the one thing that was done that I looked at mathematically was if you looked at, they'd say, and this guy begat this guy, and when he was of so many years, he took to this wife, and then they begat. The sooner they got married and had children, the fewer years they lived.
Makes sense.
When they waited longer to get married, they lived longer. I was like, well, yeah, you wanted to die.
Yeah, kids are stressful.
So I think that was supposed to be a lesson that, like, wait for marriage, kids, or you'll die and kill yourself sooner.
And that's the interesting thing. That's not just a biblical thing with the ages, like Asian culture. They have that, their ancient history, people lived so much longer, and it's really everywhere that you see it. So it's very interesting that, people say they all have a flood myth, but they don't go into everything else they have. They all have these long lives that are longer than we've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like, we're living longer than most generations have because of, the healthcare and the medical field and technology. But it seems all those cultures, at least that's what they believe, that they lived for ages. I know there's even theories behind it that before the flood, there was more clouds in the sky, so less of the suns, and more oxygen was here.
Under a ball of water. That's like, there's this giant, wall of water that just collapsed, and that's why the whole earth was able to flood so quickly. And of course, the theory is, I say, of course, like, naturally, if, but having that much water filter the sunlight, diffusing, ultraviolet rays, harmful stuff, made things so that we could possibly live longer. We're never going to know unless we just take somebody's baby and say, thank you, we're going to borrow this for a while and put it in this bathysphere and see what happens. Maybe we already have.
I mean, we could see now, like, the athletes, like LeBron James, will actually go into like an oxygen container to heal quicker, and oxygen seems to do that. So if the oxygen too was better or more pressed, lower population, more trees than what we have today. Maybe it did. People could live longer too because of the oxygen levels.
All kinds of things. But it was immediately after the flood. People didn't make it to those triple digits anymore. They started living real normal lives. Like the way dying early, like we were supposed to.
Well, and with the flood too, it says that water came through the ground, so that's where Pangea broke up too. And
Yes.
if people don't believe that or not, I mean, look at Africa and South America. I mean, they fit right in together. I mean,
yeah, you can squish all back together and see where everything goes. It's just a puzzle that.
Well, it's great too with our story. We could say all these places exist. They just went in the water. They were part of the land that fell in the water when things broke up. Atlantis, it fell in the water. It's
exactly because when you do put it together, you got holes. It's like this is an obvious bit, but what was here? Was this a lake supposed to be? No, it's gone.
You think there would have been natural rivers or anything, and then when it broke, a lot of that, kind of probably fell too.
Exactly, like we're getting ready to wait for California to do. It's just been promised since I was a kid.
Which I honestly do think makes sense. Like when you do look at these wonders that we can't make right now, not the pyramid in itself is not just a wonder. Like how it was built and how we can't do it. Where they got the material from to bring it there's a wonder. How they cut it out of the rocks, like it looks like a laser cut. How did they do that? So that's why I even think a lot of that technology was washed away too, in the flood. And that's why you don't see anything. There's no tools. There's nothing around these, these behemoth structures.
You can imagine if there was some cataclysm that took out, everybody but a couple of hundred people. If you don't have one of those guys being an auto mechanic, you're not going to have cars for a while until somebody else figures out how this worked again. So yeah, if you're destroying the world and all you've got's a farmer, you're not going to have any high tech that you had at the time. But go figure out all that stuff again. Yes, California is falling into the ocean. Were you not alive in the 70s? We know that's what happens eventually, sometime, someday. Thank you, Mike Walters, for liking and sharing. We do appreciate it. Mike runs the mic stand over on his YouTube channel at top of the next hour. So when we're all done here, if you want to pop over and get into the niche news. So this is a 30-page book. Mm-hmm. Shift the focus, RJ.
It's the first part. It's like the first act of a movie into a 3-part story. So there's a lot of action in your first act, a lot of information in your first act. Usually kind of ends with something that changes what's going on to kind of make it difficult for our heroes. So that's what you're going to get in our first issue here.
Right.
And so go ahead.
I was just going to ask what kind of heroes they were, where they're from, but do continue.
Yeah, so, it's always going to be a team book. Me and my illustrator, we both have a lot of things we grew up loving. He loved Conan. You could kind of see this. He does a lot with the character development. I loved X-Men. You can see all the X-Men books behind me. So even though our first book, we have a kind of a main character, Mare, because he's the leader, it really is always going to be a team book. Every character is going to matter. Every character is going to have their talents, traits, specialities, virtues, and they'll all step up at different times for different reasons. And you'll get a lot of backstories, too, of who they are and why. And even this 5 here, how they fight as a unit, their weapons of choice kind of even goes off of their personality. Like Mare, he's got this big battle hammer axe. And again, because, this time they did have more technology. In our second book, you'll actually see he can take it apart and make it into a hammer, 2 axe, and a pike. So he can make it into 4 weapons if he wants, or he can keeps it all together. And, he loves that weapon because he's the type of fighter that he wants this free will of kind of going all over the place and slashing. He's very upfront. He's very much of a brute and in your face, which works for the rest of the team.
You're going to have to find somebody to make that,
I know. Yeah, Derek wants that really bad.
Take that to Forged in Fire and see if they can promote your book and make the weapon.
We were thinking, now we've listened to everybody because this is our first time. We're rookies. Everyone said keep it simple, so we didn't do anything with the weapon. But we thought of either doing like a cool little toy or model or keychain or magnet, something with that. We might do it on the second or third book, something cool with it. But we have to get like a life model one would be real amazing. So he's the leader of the group. He's gathered them all together. He left his hometown because of what his family was known for. His parents lived in relatively peacetime. His kingdom really was kind of far away from anything, but he felt because of his family, he still had to go out and make sure that evil could never come back. So he's been to like country. A big influence for him. I always liked how Wolverine, when they would go someplace, he'd always know somebody because he's been around so much. That's like Mare. Whatever country they go to, he should probably know somebody because he's been in that many battles. And that's how this team has come together. They're all from different countries and tribes and have met him and kind of stayed and followed with him to make this kind of small team of warriors. And so...
Now, one of the things I like about team books, especially like X-Men, it isn't so much the fact that everyone's different and everyone brings something to it. That's part of it. But how you take those different things and make them work together. Classic example being the Colossus Wolverine Fastball Special.
Love that.
So do you have any events in your book that show how the team can coordinate their abilities into this combined threat?
So in this, no. Now they do work like a fine-oiled team, but kind of how everything happens, they're more of a team that usually plans things, but because of things that happen in this book, they're kind of going by the seat of their pants. So what usually would happen, and you'll see it later, you won't see it in this, but so Saber, our arrow guy, he's the type of guy that he's usually not even around. Like people don't even know he's around, and he's kind of watching everybody and getting everyone's back in case someone's coming behind them or not, to kind of, to be that over. And he's a tracker too. And like I said, he picks his weapon because he's a pessimist. He's a glass half empty. He's hard to get to know. He's very off-putting, so that's the perfect weapon for him. You know what I mean? He can take out people himself. He doesn't need anyone else. He can hide and do his thing. So, but again, and I don't want to spoil things. You won't really see that. So I'm saying things that you really don't get to see yet with the team just because of how the story is. So. Sure. Mare's second in command is the Asian lady up top there. That's Zune. She has a bow. So she's the only one that has a weapon that isn't like a blunt trauma weapon, but she can still kill people with her bow.
And for those who are listening, when he says bow, he doesn't mean like B-O-W. That's Sabra's weapon. She has a bow, B-O, the staff, the bow staff. Yes,
the staff. Yeah, bow staff, yes. And so she likes it because she's very patient. She's very much into the motions of things. And to the group, she's kind of the person that keeps everyone together. She's the most level-headed. She's one of the best decision makers. And if Mare's not around, she's the one in charge then.
We have a question from the chat, by the way.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, because I'll talk forever, so don't mind interrupting me. So.
And that makes for the best shows because then I don't have to. But he says Mir and Sabra are both Israeli names. And he's just wondering if that's a coincidence or if that's, part of. There's a reason for it in the story.
That's a good question. So yeah, what I've looked for is their names usually have something to do. Mir actually, his name I found actually. Where I found his was more Celtic language when I was looking for it. But yeah, Saber is more Middle Eastern. I did try to keep their names region, and their names would usually have something to do with them. Because even in life, it's actually interesting. Like if you look up people's names and what they mean, a lot of times parents, I don't know if they put some destiny on people or anything like that, but a lot of times people's names kind of go with their character and who they are. If you look up your friends' names...
Names have power. So
yeah. Their names always do. None of these names are just made up out of my head like Chewbacca. I don't think I could make them. Like Zune, I did research looking for names. because there's a lot of websites that have names out there, and looking for certain aspects of either who they are or who they will be. So yes, some of it, if you do look in their names, there's probably stuff that you would get a little bit more out of than, just reading the story. So yes, their names do matter.
And I think you were getting ready to tell us about these other two remaining characters here. The guy with the Fred Flintstone jawbone here.
Yeah, that's a jawbone. That's Adelbern. He's the beast master of the group. Before he met Mare, that's what he did. He hunted them, for when kingdoms needed to get rid of something. That's what it is. That's an animal's jawbone that he's kept. He uses it as a club. It's massive. Adelbern is the religious person of the group. He believes in destiny, and that's why he stayed with Mare, because of Mare's lineage and family. He believes he's destined for greatness, and he kind of puts that pressure on him because he's kind of like waiting for something to happen. And you'll actually see that play off of him in this story. And he is the oldest. But again, he's he's not used to battling because he was a beast master, so that's why Zune would outrank him, because he kind of got to go with what the team plan is. He's going to do what everyone else's needs. And then the little guy there, he's Chiru, sorry, excuse me. He would be like Indian, and he's fast, he's small, he has little daggers, but he kind of fights with speed. He wants to get in and out for what he's doing. So he'll usually hover around each other, and they will all watch out for him just because, he is smaller. So if someone gets him, but he knows what he's doing. And again, you'll even see that. You'll see him in the background when Edelbern or Zune are doing stuff to people who come behind them, and, use his speed to kick them and momentum to hurt people. So again, might not be a great one-on-one fighter, but he works with the team. And he does other things too, like cooks and helps with medicine. And he has a big part in the start of the story of something that he's doing with the group. And he's kind of the heart and soul. He's like the little brother of the group. He's the one, he's always cracking jokes. And they all kind of tease him as well. So they're a battle team, but they're like a family as well.
And the jawbone reference was not lost on me, Heroinberg. I just had never seen anybody other than Samson using one before, and I don't even know what that thing is. Yeah, killed 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of an ass.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's embarrassing. So let's. Okay, so I scrolled just a little bit, and we're out of tears. You really did keep this a very simple campaign.
Yeah. We just have 3 covers for the same book, so you can get them individually, or you get them together for $5 off. We have a standard, which is the team cover. Then we have a digital, just because of how bad shipping is. I didn't want people to not want to get this because shipping was so expensive compared to the book. So, and you can see we have gotten people that have went for it, and for ease of access too. I know we're first time. It's hard to trust people. It seems like a lot of people out there that burned people, that never released anything, took people's money. So, you try the PDF and you're like, okay, you make an issue 2, you'll probably have a catch up tier. And then I'll get my physical copy made of that. So this picture that we've been looking at for so long, that is your standard cover. That's a heck of a cover, by the way. Yeah. Derek did a great job with it. Then we have an homage cover to it's a cover where Wolverine and Captain America are fighting. It's Captain America cover with, I think it's Mike Zeck was the artist. I believe that's what his name was. And so it's Wolverine's claws going after Captain America's shield right there. So Cap would be where the Beast is, and Mira would be what Wolverine was doing.
Got it.
So that came out great.
And then this is the this is interior art.
Yeah, so the third cover's all the way down, because it's our wraparound, which is a little bit extra.
And this being antediluvian times, you're going to see some creatures that didn't get on the boat.
True.
So
True.
This
and
one,
without going into story things, they knew more about technology, so there'll be other reasons for things as well. So, just to put that in.
Yeah, even though we're not seeing much technology in these pages, because we're seeing battle axes and blood and stabbing and arrows. We're seeing very medieval flavored instruments, even if they're ones that we haven't really seen in history.
Well, and even where they are, they're very light because of what they're doing. They're kind of just hunting these beasts, so they don't have horses with them or much property at all. None of them are really even wearing battle armor or anything like that. So, and this is kind of the fight they get into, what they intercept, and you can kind of see them fighting. Mayor kind of has now this guy isn't actually a part of that group that wants to destroy kingdoms and buildings. He just likes to destroy things. So he just kind of met up with them, and he's kind of like a pyromaniac. And so those are lanterns. So you can see on the bottom they can cut you too, how they're structured. So they're kind of like lanterns lit. And that's our wraparound cover right there on the bottom, where he's swinging it like Thor. Yep.
Yeah, because when I saw the lantern guy still over here, it flowed so well with this. I'm like, okay, and now the battle is truly on. So well placed cover to follow that introductory story.
And the cut, we couldn't get it fully in here, so it is cut a bit. There is more to it, but you're getting most of it anyways. It's just kind of there'll be a little bit more at the edges.
That's very cool. Creative team, you, Derek. Dio Lima?
Yeah. Yep. These are colors. He's great. Man, he's great. And,
wow, this letterer here, I've never heard of him. I don't know.
No, I know. Yeah. Felt like we had to. I felt like we didn't have a choice.
It looks like it was a pity lettering job. Yeah. we'll give you a break, get you in the industry, bud. So yeah, $7 for the PDF, $15 for the first two covers, $20 for the wraparound cover. Mm-hmm. And that's $50, but if you get all three of them, it's only $45. So
and with all the physical, you get the digital, because the digital is probably going to get out before the physical, and we didn't want the physical people feeling like they don't have to read the digital, but if they feel like they're not getting it as soon as others, they still have it.
So was that creature we saw this ceratopsian, or just we're going to make a creature, make it look weird with horns and stuff? I mean, what kind of creature research went on for your world here?
A lot of different things. I would say that. So I'd say our book is more mythology than fantasy. We will have fantasy and we will have supernatural things, but my rule of thumb was always like, if mythology has it, we're able to put in. So there is a reason why it looks the way it looks. But again, I can't really go into the reason why it looks to what it looks, because even in the first book, you don't really know what it is without spoiling anything. So all those things will come out. There's a purpose for everything. Even our characters don't know some things or fear some things. So the animal has a purpose. It's not just an action scene. This animal provides new information to the team and changes their goals and their campaign, what they're doing right now. So
your partner in crime has declared that they're hybrid animals. So he's dropped a dime on some.
I know he always does that. Always like, Derek, don't give away all the information. Don't give away everything. But but even what he said, it's more than that though too. So he didn't give away everything, but there is a reason.
He was full of hybrid animals though. Usually they were a hybrid of man and something else, which means our ancestors had some sick ideas in their head, or knew people who were doing sick things.
Hey, again, they had the technology. Look what they did with mummies. Look at how they knew what they were. I mean, they knew how to do surgeries. They understood DNA. So we're gonna have some cool stuff. There's gonna be, again, it's not sci-fi. There's not gonna be guns or spaceships or cars or anything like that. But it's but it's more than medieval. It's more there's going to be some cool things. Like I said, just with the weapons, their armor can connect to. I don't know if you'll see that in the second book. You'll definitely see it in the third. But even their armor is a little bit better than what we would even have for medieval times. So, and kind of that all, because again, there's the Celestials as well. So they bring on some things, but right now they're in the background. They're in the first book, but they're not the main focus yet. They're just in the background for now as things are going. So they bring forth things as well.
And you're right. They did know about, DNA back then. I mean, look at any doctor's office you go to, and on the sign you're going to see a caduceus, which was the staff of Mercury, which was a stick. And what's it got? It's got two snakes going whoop 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 whoop.
Yep, exactly what DNA is.
Yeah. So,
well, even again, like you said with the Bible, what is it? Their names. It's all about the DNA. It's this DNA strand of these names. Yep. So the blood always had a big influence on all these cultures. They all knew blood was the life. You know what I mean? Even though we were bloodletting like 100 years ago, all these cultures back then knew blood was the life, not the brain or the heart. The blood was the life force of everyone, creatures and us. So,
and it contained all the information about you. So we're just
yeah. They say doctors can even tell you things that have happened. They could tell you things that happened when you were little or something. Like if you ever broke anything, like your DNA has a almost like your history book. I've seen things like that. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but
I've heard of different things that they can tell in your DNA. But I'm just waiting for them for archaeologists to find some Mesopotamian CRISPR. That would that would fuel a lot of stories real fast. So
who knows what they found and we don't know though too.
Oh yeah, we've seen what happens when you find the lost ark. It gets the military takes it and throws it in a warehouse somewhere and forgets it.
Boy, that's a great scene too with how big that warehouse is in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, because you're like, what else is in here? And then of course I finally just recently got around to watching the Crystal Skull. I did finish it. But you got to see the ark again, kind of, sort of, in the same warehouse, and you're like, oh, there's the crate that it's in.
He survives a nuclear bomb being in a refrigerator.
Being in a refrigerator.
That alone took me right out of the movie. I was just like, come on. Well, but the skull stuff was cool though. When they had it go and they was like combining, I thought that was awesome how they did that. That was cool. Very
cool effects there.
Which the Crystal Skull is a big thing, right? Where, it's sold and then it wasn't real, and there's all like a back history with that. So that was an interesting thing to pick. Honestly, there's tons of things to go off of.
Yeah, the giants that they discover, that's the one that I would really like to get into more. We do have, cryptid shows and some other supernatural shows on here. Maybe I'll go find myself an expert on the bones of the giants and see if I can't get some of them guys on here to talk about what it is. Because
2 or 3 years ago, they thought there's a city called the City of the Giants in the Middle East, and they thought they found the entrance because they found a gate that was like massive. So there's a book of the giants, but it's like ripped to shreds. There's barely anything. They've never been able to get the whole story, but there's an ancient book called the Book of Giants, which be interesting if they ever found that.
Yeah, and these were all again antediluvian characters. So maybe if you subscribe to, what did you say, 3 issues, 3 acts? Is it? Yes. Is this only 3 issues? Or are you going to keep going after that?
So I'm sorry, I started this off wrong. When Lord of the Rings came out in the early 2000s, I loved it, and I read The Hobbit, but I never read Lord of the Rings. The movies were so well done. I actually started looking for comic books and stuff that were like it. Couldn't really find anything. So I started writing novels myself. And since 2000, I had about 10 to 12 novels, probably about 85% done. And I don't think I was ever going to put them out. And then when I met Derek, my illustrator, as we became more friends and talked about the nerdy stuff we were in, I told him about my story, and he really digged it. And then because again, he didn't know about Middle Eastern mythology or Asian mythology because everyone knows about Greek and Roman. And he went down that rabbit hole and loved all this stuff and the stuff with all these cultures having the giants, like even Native Americans in California have stuff with the giants. And so honestly, we have tons of stuff. What I'm preparing to do is, so 3 books are kind of like a story in itself. So 1 through 3, then 4 through 6, then 7 through 9, and make like a trilogy. And then the 10th book will kind of be like getting them all together, an overarching story. And so 1 through 10 is kind of its own story, 11 through 20, 21 through 30. And the 10 will either revolve around some issue, some war, some region, some kingdoms, and things like that. Because there's a lot of world building where our characters will be going to different places before, like, there'll be a lot, like, the story will be a lot more close to the characters as the world builds, their stories build, and things will get bigger into wars and things like that. Till, I could say we could easily make 100 comics to get
There's
the whole
a lot
full
of
story.
weird history, mythology, aliens, stuff that could be looked at just in that antediluvian. The whole fun of a prehistoric world is that there's no historic record to say you're wrong.
Yes. Yeah, all the stuff with the Sumerians and their text and everything like
Gilgamesh
that.
and the other. Derek, I'm going to have to quit giving you thoughts about giants and stuff because Derek's like, stop taking the ideas. So I thought maybe I might be giving you some, but, hey, it's your book. So you guys do what's best.
We will have giants in it, yeah.
And you guys do run a YouTube channel.
Yes,
what do you do on your YouTube channel? You do what I do, or you do something better?
We listen to the chat around. There's a couple things we usually do. We'll usually talk either about mythology. We'll talk about comic book characters. Like we might go on one character and really talk about them. We'll go into music at times. A lot of times the chat will just bring up something and we'll go off of it. So, but I'd say it's usually around something like mythology. We try to stay away from anything political, anything in like nerdy news because everyone else is kind of covering it unless it's something big. Like we did a video on the Punisher and his history when all that stuff came up about him and what they were doing, changing his logo. And we try to make it fun, try to make it positive, a place to update our book and, have a place for fun with the chat. The chat keeps it very lively. So.
Yeah, and we've had a great chat tonight. A lot of people talking back and forth, some good questions being brought up. It's a lot more fun when the chat's there than, God, especially early on. I said, okay, I'm going to start live streaming. No guests because who's going to want to talk to me? I've got no show, no history, no track record. Just turn the camera on and go. Boy, howdy. That is, if you have no plan and you're flying by the seat of your pants, you have no partner to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah. It's
just a lone voice in the void. and you come back a year later, it's like, somebody thumbed it up. Somebody liked it.
Yeah. And, we got a bunch of people that are usually there. Our chat usually never lets things go. Like the chat will bring up, I didn't know about the Kmart blue light special. So they all think that's hilarious that I didn't know about that. Seemingly everyone else knew about it, but I didn't know. So
yeah, well, that was
they don't let those
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. I still hate that Star Trek episode because so you can read and tell stories, but you can't tell the stories. You can only remember the title of it or the scene of it, and you communicate that way. How do you tell the story if you can't communicate more than just the concept of the story? Yeah. Somebody had a big cosmic brain idea with no practical application whatsoever.
Yeah, it happens. It happens every now and again. That's why you should always have some rules for yourself, so it keeps you honed in. It keeps you, like, again, I try to keep the rule if it's in mythology. Try not to go out there don't want to bring aliens in this like that. I think people will like the Celestials. They're a hodgepodge of things, and they kind of explain a lot of things as well. So I think people will enjoy them. They'll be fully fledged out characters too, that are in the world. So
yeah. Now, are the Celestials the characters you've just introduced? I mean, is that like
No.
We are the Celestials? There's somebody else then.
There's a whole bunch of them. There is a lot of them, but none of those people we just saw are Celestials.
So the human band of happy warriors, they're the ones who are going to meet them, fight them, oppose them.
Yes and no. It's like anything else. I won't say who or what they are, but I would say they react like anyone else. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are different. Some of them care about what's going on. Some of them couldn't care less.
Some of them take over Batman's job whenever he's got his back broken.
Well, that's not a Celestial, but that's interesting. So he's not one of our 5. You will see him a little bit in this. So as of right now, he's just he's a mystery. But that's interesting that you thought of Batman when you saw him.
Well, I thought more of Azrael,
Mm-hmm.
the Jean-Paul Valley character. Just the style of the armor there. So when is this releasing? You're looking at an October release. Are you guys on time?
Sooner than that. We wanted to give ourselves time just because of COVID and everything going on. But I'd say we've got probably like 50% of our colors done. Once the colors are done, we can give it to our letterer. We have all of our 30 pages done basically. So we just gave ourselves 6 months in case there's printer problems. But honestly, I would say we could probably get it out. I would say comfortably probably in June. I mean, the sooner the better we can get it out. Is what we like. We're just trying to, just in case. We've heard so many people have horror stories, so just giving ourselves 6 months once the campaign ends.
None of your creative staff are in Ukraine, are they?
No.
Okay. Who can see that coming?
Yeah. You imagine? Oh boy. Yeah, imagine that. Yeah.
And you got to figure somebody's got a campaign out there where they're like, crap, our artist is under siege. He's not going to be doing anything for a while.
Or just fled. How many people have fled the country? So yeah,
I know.
I don't think that's a big area in our community. It seems like the community's Australia, South America, like Brazil seems to be a big part of the community.
Yeah.
People have been saying there's actually United Kingdom community, but their time is so different that they don't really interact with the American side.
Oh, well, allow me to introduce you to all my CG UK friends, because there is a huge UK community, and the thing, how they handle the time difference, they don't step on each other's shows like we do all over here, because we just go live willy-nilly. I'm going to go live. I don't care if the big frog man's doing something right now and I'm not going to get an audience. But they like coordinate with each other. It's like, okay, so why don't you do your show on this day, and then I'll do my show on this day at this time. And it's like a program guide. You can always tune into the same time and get the same people.
Oh, if you have a list, that'd be great, because there's someone in the UK I've been talking about going on their show, and they were asking me to do like a 10 in the morning UK time. So I got to figure out what time that actually is in the day for here to see if I can do it or not.
Are you East Coast?
Yes.
Okay, we have we've fallen back, so it is a 6-hour time difference for you at this time of the year. So 10 in the morning.
I'm 6 hours ahead or 6? No, I'm 6 behind, right?
They're 6 hours later than us. So 10 in the morning is 4 in the morning for you.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll have to see. You have a whole list of all the shows and everything that's over there?
I will get you a list of all my friends who are CG UK, and then you can.
That'd be awesome.
On Twitter, and because they've all got great shows. They've all got great books. We just got to start getting them over here.
I probably don't know any of them. Yeah, I don't think I know any of them.
Charlie's London, Aria Black.
Yeah, I know that.
The entire UK bargain bin team with Rob Price and Jacobus and Bristolian Dave. Yeah. Oh, okay. you got some shows to go on, my brother. We're going to get you set up here.
Yeah, I still got a whole month, so.
Exactly. So good to go. I didn't look at the numbers. You do have, 7 of the PDFs. 19 have taken give me all 3. That's cool. 6 and 4. Yeah, there's nothing here that nobody's looked at and said, eh. So, you've got interest on all levels of it, which is great, especially for a first campaign.
Yes.
Glad, no T-shirts because, nobody knows your characters yet. Why would they want them on a T-shirt if you know your character? Let them learn to love the characters first, and then when they see Ballad of the Celestials on a T-shirt, they're like, oh yeah, I gotta get that and show off my love for this, comic that I'm so much into.
Well, I think that's cool too with the world. Like when we make a kingdom, we'll have kingdom logos, and I think people really get into that. Like, Harry Potter, where people got into the houses, that there'd be one they really enjoyed, or for me too, what I really like about making places is like when Black Panther came out and everyone just didn't love the character, but the world. And so I feel like that's going to be an awesome thing we get to do is make up so many different worlds with these cultures and what they're good at, what they use for trade. Because, in this world, it's more about trade than it is actual like cash. So these cultures have to have something that makes them different than everyone else that would kind of make them important in the world. Yeah, Derek's art is amazing.
So with all the different cultures, you got logos for the different kingdoms. You've got this Middle Earth kind of setting here. This thing is screaming RPG role-playing game.
Well, we might do something like that. Our actually stretch goal at 3,000, and we have it down at the bottom, is a metal card of Mir with his armor, and that's why it's metal. Is that down the road? There it is. Cards have some influence in the world, and so down the road, we'd actually like to have a card game that kind of exists in the world that we have as well. And so that's something that would be cool if people have that. They can use it for a game we'll have down the road. So we'll definitely have a card game. We actually have a friend that really likes our world that has even sat in with us sometimes when we've been doing panels, and he's all into board games and things like that. So probably down the line.
I know a guy who is doing a crowdfunded comic and is releasing not just a card game, but a card game engine where they're licensing it to people. Say, hey, here is the game.
That's cool.
So you can put your characters into it and make a deck that's your characters.
Very cool.
That's Greg Levitt. He's doing Gun Demon. So if you want to get in one of his battle decks, talk to him and see how you can get in one of those expansion sets. I've long time said that somebody should, do that, make this generic Magic the Gathering kind of thing with an open source set of rules. And then if you don't want to make a deck, but you want to just say, hey, put my character on a card, or here's some, artifacts like, Mir's weapon as an artifact, stats that align with what the game allows, and then just make that a stretch goal in your campaign, and it fits into any deck that you want to play. And now you just surprise somebody. It's like, oh, you're coming at me with those guys? Well, here comes Cyberfrog with this massive battle axe. Who saw that coming? So you can just throw surprises at people. And card, it's there.
So we have some ideas, but those are more down the road. Nothing fully fledged out. More story purposes right now, and kind of a cool thing for people to feel a part of the world, because there'll be kind of some different things that have influence over the world.
Well, you're only that's a $3,000 goal. You're 2/3 of the way there. Long time to go yet to come up with the money. So
we're waiting to get it physical, and we're going to start pushing it with actually having it in our hand and showing people and kind of putting it on Twitter and things like that.
I am reaching behind me here because as I get ready to wrap up here, I'm getting ready to stop the podcast and start working because I'm almost done fulfilling this.
Nice.
For people who were backers of Exilium, Ben Slayback has sent me Exilium 1A, or Exilium 2A, 2B, Vanguard 1A, 1B, Vanguard 2A, 2B, the trade paperback, lots of books, lots of different combinations. It's a
Very cool.
very successful campaign. And I am also in the middle. At the same time, we got two projects at the same time we're fulfilling here. You might have seen this around the internet.
The Embrace, yeah.
6 boxes of this went out this morning. I've only got a few of them left.
Their box, the box that they have, the art on that's Derek's. He actually drew it for them. They had like a Twitter contest, and where the Embrace character has mist behind him. That's actually Derek's illustration. I wish I could show mine. I don't know where I put mine now that I'm thinking about it.
You mean this one?
Yep, that's Derek's. Derek drew that for them.
Yeah, we got a few of them left here. The reason I still got them here is because one thing we don't have are the signed copies that are coming from Australia. So as soon as those arrive, they will go in these boxes and in any of the smaller packages that are waiting for them. That's it. We're just waiting on those signed copies, and this last handful will go out. And I say last handful because we bundle and ship. Everybody in Europe is waiting on like 3 people in Europe, so that we don't have to do 2 big European shipments. Just do one. Cheaper to do 1 than 2. So Peter Palmiotti inked the team and wrap covers.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot to mention that just because of time. Instead of Derek did all the inking with the illustrations except for 2 of the covers. We had to outsource that just for time.
Oh, okay. And well, Nina, thank you for popping in here. Nita, I have too many people in my life with too many similar names. Nita Lanning, who's running the Raging 2 broadcast, the ad for which you saw at the beginning of the show. She's teamed up with Daphne Lage, and they do podcasts all the time. Another show you should reach out to and get on.
I haven't been on any podcasts. I was going to wait probably for a Saturday and Sunday when I don't have anything. Just put on Twitter, hey, anyone got a podcast? Because what I did is I just took Dojo Kun Comics. He had a list of all these YouTube channels, and I just went through every one, instant messaged them on Twitter asking if they had any openings for me to come on. So,
well, we always have openings. we never close. All right, Murph, thank you so much for bringing Ballad.
Thank you for having me.
To the show. Glad to do it, man. We could you know what? Next time I get who do I get on here? I'm going to do a quick Gmail look because I know I just got an email from the guy just a second ago. Well, not a second ago, earlier today. Where is he? Oh yeah. Well, never mind. But Paradigm Research. The gentleman who runs that is on a lot of television shows and such, and it's always, about the great disclosure that's coming. We've had him on a couple of times, had some fun UFO discussions. But next time we get, him or one of the ancient alien kind of folk on,
sure,
send you a note and say, hey, you want to come co-host with me? And
that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be very fun.
All right, folks in the chat, thank you so much for being here tonight. We don't have a show without you being here. We're the tree falling in the wood.
Yes.
And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night, guys.